Okay. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to Let's Talk Music, then welcome. I've got some guests again tonight. I saw these guys Friday. It was Friday, wasn't it? Last week. At the Anvil. They were support for Regional One. Played with, is it Entity or NTT? Entity?
Entity, I think is how you say it. Yeah.
Entity. Sorry guys if you're watching if I said that wrong. And One Last Day, and then Regional One. You guys were awesome, by the way. That lineup was just sick. That was everyone that night was just on their A game. You guys were amazing. I'm actually
It was a
repping
good
some
group of bands.
One Last Day merch right now. Just plug that.
Hey, look at
Eh. So, would you guys like to introduce yourselves, say what you do in the band? This is White Noise, by the way. I don't know if I said that already.
Yeah, we're from White Noise. My name's Ewan, and I do vocals in the band and play guitar.
And I'm Dan, and I do guitar and occasionally the odd backing vocal.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you for coming on the channel and having a chat with me. I saw the like podcast type thing that you did with Regional One. I watch those every week mainly because they just go off track every single time and it's hilarious to watch. Uh um yeah, so it was great, and then it was great seeing you guys play. So I always open up my interviews with a bit of an icebreaker question. Some people don't know how to answer it and it's great fun. Um, so if you could describe your personality as a color, what would it be and why?
Purple, because it's the best color and I have the best personality.
Fair.
You want to elaborate on how you have the best personality?
Nope, it just is the best any way that you're thinking it is. No, yeah, no idea how to answer that. However, I'm going to go with my gut instinct. Go on, Ewan. What color are you?
I just want to pick my favorite color, but that's not really going with the question. Let's go with like a navy. I'm gonna say like there's some color, there's some depth there. It's a deep color. But it's not super bright. I'm not like a outwardly bubbly person necessarily. But
nice and calm, like the sea.
Unless I'm angry,
yeah.
Also like the sea.
Like the sea. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Do you know there's some in-depth answers there? Like people don't think about it that much. You guys really thought about it. I appreciate that.
And I do think that is an in-depth look at our personality. Whereas Ewan's all introspective. I'm like, nope, this is the answer. I'm not willing to ask any questions about it.
Yeah, fair enough. So back to music questions, or start of music questions. What inspired you guys to get into music? So for me, I've told this before, but I'll tell it again. I started drumming at 11. I did music GCSE. The reason my logo for Let's Talk Music is a drum kit, because drummers are the best thing ever. No.
Agree. No, agree.
Yeah, and then it went from there, and then loved watching local music and decided to make Let's Talk Music. But why did you guys get into music?
At this stage, I feel like I almost have a rehearsed story on this. So I went to see, like, I got for one of my birthdays, I think it must have been 12, 13, something like that, Green Day tickets from my parents. My dad took me to see the show, and I was enthralled. I was like, this absolutely is what I want to be doing. And sort of really, really, really fell in love with music at that show. And then I watched a Muse DVD of them playing live and saw Matt Bellamy on guitar, and I was like, I want a guitar is what I want to be doing. And yeah, it all kind of spiraled from there, really. Got a guitar for my 14th birthday, played in a whole bunch of different bands, and that leads us to today.
There we go.
Yeah, I got into music a little bit later than you did. I like first picked up bass was my first. Well, no, I played like trumpet at school and stuff. That was my first actual instrument. I played in like orchestras and stuff, but I never like fully loved that. And then a few years later, after I'd given that up, a couple of my mates, one of them had just picked up guitar, and the other one, I think, just liked music. And so we're singing badly. All good. It was pretty good. It was better than we could sing at the time. and they were like, "Hey, do you have an instrument?" And my mum had a bass from when she used to play in church bands, and I picked that up, started learning that, just did like Weezer covers and stuff, basically, and didn't really think much of it until like 5 or 6 years later when I was doing music photography. Is kind of how I fell into the scene.
That's cool.
Is I was really into cameras and taking photos, so I got asked to shoot some gigs for a mate, and that's where I met Matt, who's the other guitarist in this band. In his old band, shot them for a while. Eventually got asked to join our old band, and sort of fell in love with music properly when I joined that band. Really, it was like, and I was also in a band with you before that we was briefly, but that was the first time I sort of fell in love with music was when I first started writing music.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that it was actually very cool and I didn't want to do anything else.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Music is do you know what? There's something about music, and not even just music, but local music in general, that I just get a vibe from, hence lots of music. Um and I've said this before, I've said it loads of times, but I'll say it again. Um I've been to gigs before where it's been like, like a known act, say for example, Green Day. And they are amazing. I had the best time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I had a rubbish time watching Green Day. I haven't. I had an amazing time. But there's something about a local gig where it feels a little bit more personal and a little bit more like you can be in the moment a little bit more. I full on like a gigs will go for it and dance if I'm at a local gig, and I will get involved as much as possible. Um, I feel a little bit more reserved at like a gigs, like for example, going to see Green Day. There's just something about local music. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting that you feel more at ease at a local gig when there's less people, because I'm like not a very outgoing person and find that it's easier to get lost in a sea of 1,000 people than a sea of 20.
Yeah,
But
strange.
it's cool that you love local live music as well, because the thing about being at a show with 30 other people is that every member of the band that's playing is like very very grateful that every single member of the crowd is there. Like, we appreciate every single person that is there when it's a small show. Whereas when it gets to a big sea of people, you can't comprehend how many individuals.
Yeah.
But at small shows, you can really see every single
Yeah.
person, and just like watching how they behave tells a little bit of a story of why they're there, which is cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think for your guys is that originally, so I also vlog gigs, like local gigs, and originally I was vlogging, but I didn't get enough footage, I didn't put it out there. But for your guys' set, I was vlogging, so I was a little bit further back, and then I think at one point maybe I one of you was like, step forward, so I stepped forward. But I always try and do that. I always try and get it started. If I'm the one getting it started, that's great. If not, then I'm the only one up there. That's still great. Yeah, because I come from a performance background, so I do performing arts, but locally, and there's nothing worse than performing to a crowd that, yeah, isn't
No,
in it.
100%. And it always, it just takes one person,
Yeah.
one person like yourself to step forward, sort of embrace the energy that's going on in the room, and people follow immediately afterwards. No one wants to be the first one, but the second that someone's there on the dance floor having fun, everyone comes and joins.
Yeah, although I do regret it in the slightest from Friday. Someone filmed the Addicted to Chaos by Regional One, and I'm proper like going for it. Like, and I think it's me and Harry from like Hammer Down, like proper headbanging going for it, but it's just us two in the corner, and I'm like, that is just awful.
The two coolest kids in the venue, other than the bands, obviously.
I don't realize how bad it looks, like headbanging looks, until you watch yourself back.
I don't know. I think even
It was fun.
It was fun. Always looks cool because it's like, you're into it.
Yeah, it's what you're there to do.
It was good fun. It was good fun. Cool. So, other than music, do we have any other hobbies? No.
We try.
Yeah, we're really trying. Music is all consuming. I would love to say, oh, I spend my time going on lovely walks and stuff, and I don't. I spend my time either doing band things or focusing on band things or thinking about doing band things. It's something I'm trying to work on. Eventually, I will paint a bunch of Warhammer miniatures that I've got sitting in my living room for a while, but maybe after Christmas.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've got Star Wars Legion minis that need painting.
Yeah.
Tabletop games are fun. We're in a D&D campaign that's been going for more than a year now.
Oh,
which is pretty good.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's That's interesting.
You go climbing?
Yeah, I do like climbing and stuff.
That's cool.
But
yeah, I've had I feel like everyone who's in a band is like has some kind of geeky hobby.
Music is the nerdiest thing. People always forget how nerdy music is, but it's like it's maths actually, with sound is all it is.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. Yeah, you know, I do think it does take a certain type of person to concentrate on the instrument. You know, I think that it does. There is a certain type of personality to get that hyperfixation, definitely. And it's so easily transferred onto all other nerdy topics.
Yeah, 100%. So, white noise. Where did the name come from?
This is a question for you.
The name came from Matt outside of a rehearsal room when we were first starting the band, and we had like a list of like. You came up with like 60 names or something.
Yeah,
like all terrible.
Oh yeah, I went for a walk and just basically wrote down every passing thought that I had. It was like, what would be a good band name? And none of them were past the test of, hey, I think some of these would be cool. And everyone was like, no.
Yeah. Whereas Matt suggested a couple names, and we liked a couple of them. White Noise kind of stuck. There's like some meaning to him, but for us it's kind of just like a cool name. We like the way that it looks when you write, like we write it all caps, all one word. Like our branding is like all like fairly minimal and designed around like basically the way that word looks in a minimalistic sans serif font.
During the formation of the band, we talked like a fair bit about aesthetics. And white noise definitely fits sort of the aesthetic that we were looking to move forward with. As you say, that sort of minimalist. Because there's a lot of bands in our genre, and not throwing any shade, but super complicated logos, really like takes you a while to read some metal logos. And that's very much not what we wanted. We wanted it to be very clean, very simple, very down the middle kind of.
Yeah, like ripping off Spirit Box. If you've seen a lot of their branding, you'll know that their logo is just a different font, but looks a lot like ours. So that was a big inspiration, as like that's that cool. Kind of side of things.
That's cool. So this is the point of the interview where I turn it around a little bit, and I give you guys a chance to ask me a question if you want to. You don't have to, but throw it out there. So. I don't think you want to ask me.
I feel like, having seen us on Friday, I think that there's definitely something that we could ask about.
You're gonna ask a question about us? That feels a bit egotistical.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
go for it.
No, I mean, you seemed like there was a trail of thought that you were going there. Ask away.
I was just gonna ask because all like the Spotify Wrapped stuff came out today. I was gonna ask, have you? Do you use Spotify? Have you seen your Wrapped and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen my Wrapped.
Who was your number one artist?
This is really embarrassing. Regional One.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's super cool.
They've been my number one for the last 3 years.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, I hate saying it because people say I talk about them too much, and I'm like, I can't help it. Like, they're mates of mine, but if I said this before, I said to Simon, the lead singer of Regional One, I said, even if you guys weren't my friends, I still love your music, clearly, because you're my number one for the last 3 years. Yeah, and then actually, another local band's my number 2. So I don't know if you've heard them, but there's a band called Who's Amy. They're like Bournemouth based. They're my number 2.
I think I've heard the name.
Yeah, that name rings a bell.
Yeah. So there you go.
Really spotting the local scene. We love it.
I love it. No, honestly, I do. Like, I love it. It's like my favorite music. It's great. My yeah. Definitely.
One of Matt's friends sent us his Wrapped, and our first single listen was his #1 song of the whole year. He
That's
listened to it
cool.
like 100 times or something
Yeah.
in a year, which is kind of mental.
That's
Um,
mad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Considering when that song came out during the year, he has to have listened to it nearly once a day. Like not quite.
That's
Oh
mad.
No.
once every other day. It's like a third of the way through the year.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
So if you guys could play any stage or any festival or anywhere in the world, where would you play?
So we've been to, Ewan and I have been to a lot of shows together, and we are pretty sold that the best London venue is the Roundhouse.
Okay.
So I think
that can be our joint one. I think
that's definitely our joint one.
like
Amazing.
as like a band goal one day, because like for us, it'd be the Roundhouse.
100%.
Do you have like a more out there one that is more personal to you, maybe?
Not necessarily personal. It's just sort of there are prestigious or important venues that I want to play. Like the House of Blues would be a fantastic one to play.
That is a chain of venues, my guy.
Yeah, but the one.
Is there one?
There's the first one.
I don't know which one that is.
I forget which cities it's in, but yeah, I think that would be super cool. I'd love to play a moderately large show somewhere in Asia. I think that's on the bucket list.
That's cool. That would be cool.
Like a nice big Japan stadium. That'd be great. But yeah, what about you?
I want to pick somewhere like far flung because like I want to go to a cool country and play cool shows.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna pick Reading and Leeds main stage.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Snazzy.
Last
Like it.
big festival I went to as a kid, and that was where I saw Architect for the first time, and oh man, what a stage!
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's cool. If you guys could like kind of describe or like give the guys at home who haven't heard you yet an idea of what your sound is like, or what, like, I hate to say genre because everyone, you don't have to like home in on one thing, obviously. But if you maybe could compare it to some other bands, or like just so these guys can know what your music's like.
Yeah, that is. We always struggle with this question. I don't quite know what genre we fit in because coming from like the perspective of writing it and with the intent, like we're always taking inspirations from like different bands, different songs, different genres that then make something else, and it was never our intent to like fit into whatever the sound it ends up being.
Yeah.
But I mean, speak broadly, it would be like post-hardcore or metalcore, depending on the song, and influences from like While She Sleeps and Devil Wears Prada to like Holding Absence.
Yeah, Press D'Amico.
Press D'Amico.
Rest in Peace was a big band that when we first started, we were sort of like, these guys are really cool. Sounding somewhat like that would be fun. Do we say Holding Absence? I think I
said Holding Absence. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of that, particularly like Matt's melodies. I'd say the way he constructs a vocal melody is kind of in that vein. And
then your screams are very much sort of Dance Gavin Dance, a little bit counterparts in there.
Yeah, yeah. The screams are a mix between. It's all that like Fry stuff. So the really harsh John Mess from Dance Gavin Dance vocals and obviously trying to emulate as much Sam from Architects as I can, but failing.
We've also heard a little bit of Enter Shikari. People think that we sound like Enter Shikari, which
I
don't hear personally, but everyone else has
a little bit. So. I wouldn't say it's like massively, but I get the vibe. I get where they're coming from. I get the vibe.
Yeah, we don't sound like Enter Shikari sounds.
No, not at all.
We approach music in quite a similar. Well, I do. Shikari is one of my favorite bands ever. So
yeah, I think it's more the dynamics of what you do rather than the sound, for sure. Yeah. But I get where they're coming from for sure.
When you heard it live, what did you think it was? If you had to put a label to it, because we rarely get to ask that question back.
I know, and do you know what? It's difficult because bands nowadays are kind of homing in on one genre, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's why should you like open your box up a little bit, you know? Um, yeah, I don't know. I would have to go for the Enter Shikari kind of vibe. It's hard to explain um where else I would go. I don't normally listen to like much. My genre doesn't really go much into like metal. So to like I would where I would put you in that, I don't know because I'm like don't listen to enough to put you in a thing. Do you know what I mean? Um yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think it's like an in between. Bring Me Horizon.
We'll
Like
take that.
a
We'll
Bring
take
Me
that,
Horizon
yeah.
and Enter Shikari. Like there's a I don't know, mix of the two.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have in the band such disparate tastes. Like, none of us really listen to the same music. And so it's all of that, all of those inspirations filtered down into us, filtered down into the writing, into the music. And so, yeah, I think, as you say, putting a label on a genre is always hard.
It's difficult. I just like to open up the question because people might go, I might want to listen to them, but they kind of want to know what they're going to go and listen to before they go and listen to it.
Yeah. Whenever someone's like, "What do you sound like?" or "What genre?" in like kind of preparation for listening, I always find it easier to describe the actual music. It's like there's harsh screaming, but there's also really nice melodic vocals in choruses and stuff, and we have funky, upbeat, not funky, but we have like upbeat, fun sounding chords along with heavy riffs and lots of loud drums.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? That's why I feel like I was like, oh, Bring Me Horizon, because like you're not screaming to the point that I'm like, that's too heavy for me. I want to leave. But there's like a nice level to it that I was like, okay, I can dance this, I can listen, and I'm not like, obviously some people love that, but
yeah, it's not screaming like Lorna Shore deathcore kind of stuff for the sake of making crazy sounds. Like I'm still trying to allow people to hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have, so Matt and Ewan both doing vocals. We have some songs that are purely no screams at all, and some songs that are only screams. So yeah, there's a good variety, good mix in it.
Yeah, no, it's good. So I will wrap it up in a minute. Well, not wrap it up, but give you guys a chance to plug all your stuff, tell people where you are. Before I do that, do you have any advice to people out there sat at home who are like, do you know what? I want to be in a band. I want to do this. It can simple advice, I don't mind, or big advice, whatever. Go for it.
So do it would be, first of all, my biggest advice. If you have a passion and calling for you, there is no better time to plant a tree than yesterday, and you didn't plant one yesterday, so plant it today.
Yeah.
It's tough. Being in a band is tough, even at sort of the level that we are. We have our struggles, and we're learning a lot of lessons. And I think if you asked me that question in a year's time, I could probably come up with a whole bunch of different answers. But at the end of the day, start it now. Do it.
Fair.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah. Bit of advice. The hardest bit about starting and getting into bands is finding other people to play with. And one of the best places to find other people who also want to start bands is going to shows, small shows, big shows, chatting to people, making friends.
100%.
Like there was a guy at the show on Friday who was talking to us. He sort of came up to us after the set and was like, that was awesome. I really want to start a band. And was describing he's got his mate who, like, he's only got one other person that he has to be in that band at the moment, but just like, yeah, do it, man.
Cool.
Keep coming to
these
do it. And finding other people.
Yeah, we've been super fortunate. I think Ewan and myself have been in 3 different bands together. Matt, our guitarist, I've been in 2 bands with him. You've been in 2 bands. So once you find the good people, you'll stick around and you'll work it out.
Yeah.
But yes, I think Ewan's absolutely right. Go to shows, meet the people, have some fun,
connect,
and start a band.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So what you got coming up? Where can people find you? You're on Spotify, aren't you? Instagram, all that jazz, I'm assuming. But what have you got coming up?
Coming up, the immediate thing that we're a bit stressed about at the moment, because it's in like a few days, is we are playing Suburbia in Southampton on the 2nd of
really?
December, Saturday. This
This
Saturday. So if you're in Southampton, come on down to that. We've got support from Parting with Origin, Glass Bridges, and Conspire Against.
Awesome.
And that'll be really cool. We're playing a 10-song set. Whose idea was that, man?
Yeah, and then so after that, we've got a show with Hammerdown on the 30th in Worthing. And
we just dropped our latest single last Friday, Once More with Feeling. It's out on streaming platforms along with our other songs. We've got Instagram, whitenoise_UK_. Facebook, I think it's Whitenoise UK Band or Whitenoise. They're connected.
Yeah.
And then you found one, you can find the other.
And then also follow us on YouTube. We've spent a fair bit of time crafting some good YouTube stuff on there. We've got playthroughs of our songs, guitar and vocals. It's where all our music videos go, and we're hoping that in the new year there's going to be some higher quality, higher production value stuff going up there as well.
I'll give you guys a follow on YouTube as well when I've done this, for sure. When's that gig you said in Worthing? Because I might try and get down.
That is the 30th of December. So
I might try and get to that then if I can.
Yeah, it's Hammerdown Militia, kind of all day thing.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, quite a few bands. Going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds like fun. That does sound like a good one.
Great way to end the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I'm just going to plug some of my own stuff before I say bye to people at home and you guys. So I've over the last couple of weeks, if you follow me on my socials, you would have seen that I've been announcing the bands and the lineup for Rock Beats Cancer 2024. We have officially, as of today, first time you guys are going to hear about it, made it a 2-day thing. So it was originally on the 8th of June at Four Horsemen. It's now on the 7th at Anvil and the 8th at Four Horsemen in Bournemouth. Got some great bands already. So we've got Who's Amy, Roots and Wings, Sad Cult, One Last Day, Brave Ones, and for her first ever gig opening up for us on the Friday, we've got Louise Land. She never sung a gig before in her life, so please come down and support her. And then some more to announce real soon. Just wanted to announce that. And once a month at the Blue Line in Bournemouth, I will be putting on a Let's Talk Music gig. So any local bands to the Bournemouth Port area that are new, starting up, or maybe already started but want to get some more gigs in, contact me and we can get you in on those. So yeah, had to plug all my stuff too, obviously.
That's all super sick. I didn't realize the monthly gigs for local bands. That's super cool. Yeah,
that will be cool. That'll be starting probably February next year because they don't want to do anything December, January, but that's fine. And then anyone who played Rock Beats Cancer this year, I will contact you, but you're on guest list for Rock Beats Cancer next year. And that's all I've got coming up at the moment, apart from some videos. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Honestly, thank everyone at home for watching, obviously, and I'll see you next time. Keep on playing, keep on listening, and I will see you guys soon.